cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to another round of the Porsche Club GB Sim Series, part of its 4th season. We're here at the brand new Watkins Glen circuit. iRacing recently, or even as recent as yesterday, re-released Watkins Glen. It's a brand new scan of the circuit, so this is as up to date as you are going to see it in a sim. I'm not alone in the commentary box tonight. Once again, we have pried him away from Knock Hill just for now. It's Peter MacKay joining me in the box. And this, to be fair, Peter, is another one of your very favourite circuits, is it not?
And do you know why, Chaz?
Because it's American and you like all things American.
That is true, but actually there is a Scottish connection. This was the site of the first ever win for a Scotsman in a Formula 1 Grand Prix. 60 years ago this year, Innis Ireland became the first Scot to win a World Championship Grand Prix in a Lotus.
And I remember you mentioning that last time we were here because of the irony that he was called Ireland from Scotland, to be fair. But either way,
stick together.
That's it. Just need an Englishman in there and it's a really bad joke. But to be honest, it is a hell of a circuit, mate. I mean, there's so much endurance history here, GT racing history as well, and of course some Grand Prix to go with it as well. It's not an easy circuit to get right, though. While it does look simple, I was going to say it looks simple on a track map, but because it's that new, we've not got one yet on SDK.
Yeah, you're right. It's not got much, technical parts, but it's got so many big, fast, nasty corners. This is a proper big gut circuit, Watkins Glen, and I think that's why so many drivers love it. And it's all about carrying corner speed as well. It's a proper cracker, and of course, home to the iconic Watkins 6 Hours of the Glen race, which is really a big box to tick on any endurance racer's CV. I mean, Harley Haywood, for me, the greatest endurance racer of all time, and a Porsche legend. He had no less than 48 starts in the Watkins Glen 6 Hour and won it 8 times. Not bad.
Not a bad conversion rate considering how tough races like that are, to be fair. It's absolutely incredible, the achievements that he's got behind him. And to be fair, it's incredible the size of the grid that we've got once again tonight. We have... Well, actually, you know what? Because they're not positioned yet, I can't actually see exactly how many we've got, but it's a hell of a lot. This time, close to 40 cars once again, and the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series has given us massive numbers from the very get-go, and we are very grateful for all the drivers that continually turn up. Here is Simon Povey, getting very, very loud indeed inside the cockpit. He is one of the quickest drivers in our series. You can see here from the recent views around the final couple of corners, a lot of the gravel has been removed on this circuit. There's a lot more tarmac runoff. I mean, one place you're going to see a lot of that still is, of course, turn 1, Peter, but this is a circuit that sort of demands that runoff, isn't it? Because there's so many high-speed corners and so many momentum-based corners, which Simon's just had a bit of a mistake in, like turn 1 there. But look at the size of that curb.
Yeah, it's a biggie, isn't it? You could almost park the whole car on that on that curb. Indeed, I was saying great to have a little bit of an onboard look there with Simon Povey, and you're right, it is loud inside Lady Penelope.
Well, yeah, Paul Goff is one of many drivers we have out on track right now. They're all in lone qualifying, as it's called within iRacing. They just run on their own on track, so they don't get held up by anybody else. They don't get slipstream off anybody else. This is purely down to their own pace right now, and they all have to just work hard on their own, focus on their own braking markers, their own apexes, and all of the good stuff in between. David Ward is a driver I was commentating on the other night, actually. There was another organiser running a charity event for the British Motorsport Marshals Club, and David was racing in an MX-5 of all things, and it was the exact same colour, not quite the same number, but he had a very, very busy evening of it. I'm sure he'll probably be a little bit grateful to get back to some more of the organised chaos of PCGB tonight, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how these guys get on, because while this track may not be too different to the old version, Peter, some of these differences can mean the odd tenth of a second here or there if you know how to make the most of them.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to even the playing field out a little bit more, because the drivers will have had very little time to practice. I mean, Watkins Glen will be familiar. The corners are exactly the same. It's the same circuit, but you're absolutely right. There's certain bits of the circuit where you'll be able to push the edge of track limits and get away with it, and there'll be other parts where you can't, and that will have changed now that the circuit has been rescanned and reproduced. Remastered, if you like. It's one of those really expensive Disney DVDs.
It is indeed, yeah. Everyone loves a remaster, though, don't they? I mean, if it's something like Led Zeppelin, you know, you listen to a remastered track by Led Zeppelin, you'd have thought it was sort of recorded a year ago. It just sounds so crisp, sounds brilliant. And that's what we get with racetracks as well. They all go through updates. They all have their own changes. I remember being at Barcelona a few weeks ago. I was actually looking at the hairpin down towards the latter stages of the lap. And it's actually incredible at how that's not used anymore. They only use the sort of longer, wider, more historic old corner that they have there, the long sweeping left-hander. They don't use the tight hairpin anymore. That was exclusively used for rallycross, and it's pretty much blocked off now. You can't really get a car around it, to be honest. And it's just differences like that that we don't see them instantly in the sim because, I mean, these circuits don't get scanned for years from one version to the next. But one of the main things is the corner that Mark Johnson's just gone through there, the toe of the boot, as we call it, Peter, used to have on the racing line a very different amount of tarmac. You know, it had been resurfaced but sort of in patches all the way up there. Made it very, very rough, but the whole circuit very smooth now as well, so that'll make a big difference for some of these guys.
Yeah, I used to like that going through the right-hander at the toe of the boot where you had that almost little kind of motocross berm on the inside where you had to, you could really hook the car in there and get the power on. It's just such a hugely satisfying circuit to drive. But all things being equal, well, look who's on pole by half a second, Jacob Toffs.
It's disgusting.
He's such a wee show-off, isn't he? The thing is, he isn't. That's the thing, is he's so modest about it. But the stopwatch it's just depressing for for his rivals, isn't it?
Well, he's melted the stopwatch. I think that's probably what he's done. He's actually running a different number as well. I'm not sure if he was running that different number all season, but he's not number 116 anymore, I've noticed. Which is quite interesting indeed. I did want to point out these curbs because honestly, they are massive. If we go on chopper cam here with Johnny Elia, the curbs up here, they're pretty modest. You know, they're not any bigger than your normal curbs. They're about a third of a car's width. But watch the size of the curbs here as our chopper follows him to the bus stop chicane. I would say they are the width of the car, if not more, as he comes through to here. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's proof. Thanks, Johnny. That's some curb, that, isn't it? That gives you a bit of room to play with.
It is a biggie, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that bus stop has been part of the circuit for quite a while, since the early 70s, if my memories serves me correctly. But was there, in fact, yes, it is, mid-70s, 1975. It was when that bus stop went in, because, of course, Formula One by that point was getting really quite silly. Can you imagine the Formula One cars in the late 70s around here?
Going to the carousel after a long straight.
Absolutely, flat stick.
Oh, God. Yeah, that hurts my head, really. We must talk about classes at the moment. I'm working class, I'd say. Peter O'Connor is currently fastest in the AM class at the moment. The drivers with the little blue emblem on their windscreen banners and the little blue stripe next to their name on our timing tower and our graphics. Although I said that, and Stuart Clark has beaten him. Stuart Clark has gone fastest now, 11th place and fastest in his class. Jacob Tofts, of course, top of the pro class, ahead of Matthew Dorrington, Austin Greatorex. Christian Saruta going to the line. Not sure he's improved on that lap by much, if anything. No, 146.8, so a few tenths of a second off. But so far this season, Peter, we've seen a good mix between our AM drivers and our pro drivers on track, actually. A lot of them have had the pace in the AM class to stay with the pro guys, haven't they? Yeah, there has been one or two that have really been rustling the feathers from the AM class, and that's what we like to see. We like to see that these kind of giant killing performances coming in. Now, I do think we have quite a few drivers serving pit lane starts this week. I know Carl Sharkey is one of them, although he has set a qualifying time, right? I do think he's on the naughty step, but he's not alone. It's quite a big naughty step, for what I understand. But we'll see when we see drivers starting from the pit lane, which are usually for transgressions in previous events. Now, Lady Penelope and Simon Povey currently 32nd in the times at the moment. Not sure if they'll be starting on the pits. Sorry? And we'll stay there too. Yeah. Because it will time out, won't it? I'm pretty sure it will. Jacob Tops has just gone even quicker, 45.952. That's vile. But yes, if in iRacing you set your session to be classed as heat racing, where you can have the grids affected by different races and have them all work towards a feature race or a final race, then the timer doesn't let you finish the lap you're on. It just ticks over straight away to the next session. So unless Simon Povey gets across the line in 15 seconds, then I don't think he's going to complete this lap. As far as I remember, they have it set up as heat racing. We'll have to wait and see. But he's attacking it very hard into the final couple of corners. He's only got a couple of seconds to go. I think it will... No! Oh, it just misses out. Oh, Simon, that's absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. So let's look at the first grid of the night then. Jacob Tofts will start on pole position with Austin Greatorex and Carl Sharkey behind him. Then it's David Ward, Tom Slater alongside Stuart Clark on row 3. Stuart, the highest placed driver in the AM class. Then it's Peter O'Connor and Rob Sharp, Dan Bathy and Stephen Kershaw. Danny Jones is 11th ahead of Amrit Sashdev with Andrew Shepherd and Michael Rowe on the 7th row. Andrew Soper is 15th ahead of Peter Brill, and it's Paul Rieger and Mark Phillips. Bernie is on row 9. Chris Byram and Gilles Gardner round out your top 20 and the grid for the first race of the night. So it's a long old run down to turn 1 here, Peter. Very, very easy first corner sometimes with the camber that helps you quite a lot. It's like a big oval sort of dish into that corner. Do you reckon we're going to see a few sends here?
Possibly, yes. And the thing is, if you do, though, the amount of momentum you lose on the run all the way up the hill to the bus stop is it's very... if you make a move, you've got to make sure it's very clean. So what is easy to do here, of course, is locking up the brakes. It's downhill, and the brakes and tyres are absolutely ice cold. And this is a car that does need a bit of time to get up to temperature, usually about a lap or so. So watch out for that in the early laps. Also, if you do see someone make a mistake going up the S's, of course, it is absolutely one line through there. So watch out. It's happened in the real world. It's happened many times in the sim. You've got to have your eyes up going through those opening S bends.
Yeah, they need to be very, very careful. So just to remind you all, the first heat of the night and the second heat will have 10 drivers progressing to the final, and from the Consolation we will have 15 drivers going through to the final. And of course the drivers from their heats will be reversed on the grid for that last race of the night. So the lights are about to come on now. Jacob Tofts and Austin Greatorex will lead them away. No, Carl Sharkey, he's starting from the pits. But the first race of the night in the Porsche Club Great Britain's Sim Racing Series is go. And Austin Greatorex looked like he had a great initial launch compared to Jacob Tofts. David Ward fills the gap in the middle. You've got Tom Slater down the inside there and Stuart Clark on the outside. Two Shepherds gained. No, 2 places gained by Shepherd. Andrew Soper, he's definitely urgent. He's gained 3 places at the moment. But look at this then, everyone trying to keep it nice and tidy up the hill, over the crest. Lovely stuff by the look of it there, Peter. We've got the guys coming out of the pits now, led by Anchors Rieger, but it's Jacob Tofts with a tidy start leading the way.
Yeah, very tidy indeed, with Austin Greatorex in hot pursuit at the moment. David Ward, did think David Ward had got the move done on Austin Greatorex, but great stuff from Greatorex to nick the place back into second spot. Now this is where you've got to be super careful, because you're asking a lot of the tyre, and the tyre is not going to be up to proper temperature and pressure early. See, there you go, look at that, David Ward just scrubbing wide. The grip just not quite there compared to the last lap they'll have done, which of course would be on low fuel in qualifying. So you've really got to adjust to the heavy fuel load, but also the cold tyres early on. But most of the drivers getting on just fine.
Peter O'Connor chasing down Stuart Clark right now. You can see the flames coming off Stuart Clark's wheels on his car design. Still looking down the inside is Peter O'Connor. It's not such a scary corner anymore, the heel of the boot, because you've got all that runoff on your left-hand side. So it's easy to let yourself run out a little bit further than planned. But right now, Stuart Clark holding the lead of that. Peter Brill has gone off the road. That's out of the heel of the boot. As I just called it easy, he's had a moment here, Peter. Apologies, this is Carl Sharkey.
So Peter is going to lose this on his own. Just the... So, see, that's quite a bizarre one. That looked like...
It looked like there was a lot of lock going on and a lot of understeer in the car.
And not a lot happening.
Yeah,
there's something fishy there.
Yeah.
All is not Brill at the wheel of that car. just get the early points, kick the conversions early.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange one, to be honest. Listen to these things going down that straight. It's absolutely wonderful, isn't it? All these Porsche 911, 992 Cup cars screaming their way down the straight. And we're looking at Dan Bathy right now, 5th in the Pro class at the moment. And he, to be fair, he's in a bit of a sea of AMs. He's got Danny Jones around him. Oh, Tom Slater's off. Tom Slater's off and in the wall. He's gone straight on, coming into the top of the boot. Is he going to hold up Andrew Shepherd? And, of course, the Scuderia Chicken House car, which Peter and I found very entertaining and still do. You've got to love it. Let's see what happened to Tom here, Peter.
Okay, let's see what happened to the Jameson whiskey machine. Number 5. Oh, just locked up on the brakes and just couldn't quite get it stopped in time. You're really moving on there, coming out of the carousel, heading through to the chute. That's that corner there, but that will be difficult then for Tom Slater. He is still in 11th place, and of course the top 10 go through from each heat and 15 from the consolation race. But of course you need to get through from your heat to get a decent grid position. If you're going through from the consolation, you can start no better than 21st. As oh dear, Tom Slater, well, maybe take the slate off the roof because his internet's not working properly.
Indeed. Also got a nice...
big dive.
Yeah, very big dive. The two dark green cars fighting one another. Tom Slater comes out on top and is now into a position that will get him through to the feature. We've got a nice close-up view there of the Pirelli branding, of course, which is the official tyre provider for the Porsche Club of Great Britain. It was covering up the Michelin sticker, quite comically. Peter O'Connor has gone very deep into the bus stop. Manages to get ahead of Stuart Clark, but Stuart's going to try and stay with him. Around the carousel they go. You can see the differing lines there, all affected by the camber of that corner. It feels amazing around some of these corners, especially here into the chute, because the corners lean with you. It feels like you've got this unbelievable amount of grip through some of the corners, and then you get to one where the camber isn't quite onside, and it just feels absolutely horrendous all of a sudden. It's a circuit that demands a lot of concentration as a driver. Someone that's having a lot of concentration on his mind right now is Stephen Kershaw behind the beautiful Sacred Coffee branded machine of Dan Bathy. Much more understated livery than we've seen in the past, but he's in the middle of two AM drivers here. He's got Rob Sharp just in front of him. We'll have a look back from Rob Sharp's car. There is Dan and the chasing crew. Danny Jones in this as well, Peter.
Yeah, Danny Jones, the Haribo bear, well in the hunt. He's in 9th position at the moment. But a load of AM drivers up at the very sharp end as well. Peter O'Connor, Stuart Clark, and Rob Sharp as well. Right up there in the big points paying positions. Gilles Gardner, quiet day for Gilles. I think Gilles had served a... Oh dear.
Oh, there's something definitely wrong with Peter Brill's steering or something there. Because look at the amount of lock that goes on here.
Yeah, that's not working.
No, there's a lot of lock there.
I'm not a mechanic, but that's not working.
No. Maybe something to do with his steering settings or something of the sort. But either way, these guys don't have to worry about too much of that at the front by the look of it. Jacob Toss, Austin Greater X, David Ward. We've then got this excellent fight going on behind. Peter O'Connor was side by side with Stuart Clark just now down the straight, and he's managed to stay ahead. Rob Sharp's having to defend hard. I love the livery on Rob Sharp's car. That looks absolutely the dogs. That number 86 machine.
And that livery, or part of it, the Sunoco colours, the blue, yellow and red, that is a winning livery. Of course, the 1973 Porsche 91730 of Mark Donoghue won here twice in Can-Am that year. 1200 horsepower.
Yeah, was that the Porsche Audi
yes,
culmination car? Gorgeous thing.
Yes, that was the sponsor of the importer in the States was for Porsche and Audi, yeah, and it was Roger Penske that owned the car. But yeah, over 1,000 horsepower and about 1,200 in qualifying, and weighed about 700 kilos.
Weighs about as much as a mouse mat. It's just absolutely nuts.
I remember as much protection as one as well.
Oh god, yeah. I remember seeing that car actually at Autosport a few years ago, and it had no ropes or nothing around it, no barrier, nothing. You could literally, I mean, obviously we didn't out of respect, but you could literally sit on it if you wanted to. You could get in it because there was no one around it, no one watching over it, no ropes, nothing. And I was just absolutely amazed that you could get as close to a car like that without somebody saying, no, don't go near it. You know what I mean? But yeah,
That
insane bit of kit.
That is Porsche royalty, royalty above royalty.
Yeah.
The 91730 is the car for many Porsche fans.
Yeah, it's an absolute monster. Speaking of monster, Jacob Tofts is monstering the curbs at the moment through the bus stop chicane, pushing it very hard indeed. Greater X still in second place. Definitely not going away. Look at the way they hop and skip and jump their way to the chute as they come out of the carousel. It's brilliant to see. You can see the camber of the cars just lifting the tyres off the floor. But that's one thing we've just come to love about the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, is the fact that they do move around so much. They're so soft. They're so bouncy over curbs and out of corners. You get so much visual pleasure from watching these things and the body language they give off. But these three doing a great job out front at the moment. Dan Bathy, he's definitely the man that's having the most exciting race so far, with these guys sort of accordion affecting around him.
Yeah, it's all coming together quite closely now as we've just gone past half race distance. Now we need to send a big hugs to poor old Colin Wynn, who not only can't race tonight because he's got the flu, he had a bit of an accident on the roads, and his beloved 911 looked a little bit worse for wear. So Colin, if you're watching, sending big hugs, pal, and hope to see you back soon. Hope you shake the flu off soon.
Yeah, I second that completely. Hope you recover well very, very soon, Colin. And of course, hope that any issues with the car are not difficult to fix or financially massive either. To be fair, buddy.
Get it to Porsche Centre Chester.
Get it, yeah.
Carl and his wizards will just wave their magic wand and bling. Oh, it's a GT3 all of a sudden. Oh.
I actually watched back a broadcast the other day, Peter, from when we did last season at Donington Park, and you started saying, contact Porsche Centre Chester, give Carl a ring and he'll be sure not to give you a discount. And it just caught me off guard. Even though I remembered it coming at the time, it still caught me off guard watching it back. And I was listening to it in the car, and I was absolutely crying laughing driving along. It was unreal. But I was I think I was with a friend of mine in the car, and I was showing them the sim racing broadcasts that we do, and that was an example of how much of a laugh it can be. And it started halfway through. He skipped it on, and he was just like, "All right, we'll look at this bit." And yeah, that was the bit he came to, and it had him in pieces as well. Anyway, Paul Rieger just outside the top 10 right now, trying to get in to the top 10. He needs to overtake Tom Slater. Let's not forget that Paul Rieger started in the pit lane in this race, right near the back of the grid, and he's even looking down the inside of Slater now. He's launching his attack very, very quickly indeed. He's got Andrew Shepherd just behind. He's not actually got rid of Andrew Shepherd as Tom Slater. Andrew's showing some good pace in this race. Oh, Slater just skating the back end of that car out there. Look at this though from Rieger. Great chase so far. We know what Paul's like on the brakes. He's nicknamed Anchors Rieger for a reason. Is he going to get it done? It looks like he's got a nice run here, Peter.
Drive. Oh, just a lovely drive there from Paul Rieger, and nothing that Tom Slater will be able to do here. Rieger goes to the inside line. The only thing Slater might be able to do is go for the cutback, but there's a red, black and gold number 7 car in the way. But are they going to go side by side through the S's? This always goes so well. Oh, God. Thank God. They all get through clean. That could have been messy. But brilliant racing between these two. But of course, Slater will get the draft now. Will he have a look into the bus stop? No, decides not to.
I think he's got damage, from the earlier incident. It won't help that thing in the straight line. I think that's why he's struggling a little bit. Although now he's got Rieger in front of him. He's very close to the back of him. I think Rieger had to come off the brakes there. I think he absolutely cacked his pants and thought, nah, I don't want that, mate. No, thank you. But flipping out. Oh.
Give me a Johnny Walker, not a Jameson. None of your Irish rubbish. No.
But Rieger now into
the top. Paul, being Italian, he'd like a Puni. Yeah. So there's a distillery called Puni Distillery in very north of Italy. Whiskey distillery.
I did not know that. Well, there you go.
There you go. So he would have one of those, not a Johnny Walker, but close.
Jacob Tofts has opened up his lead. It is now 1.5 seconds back to Austin Greatorex, then David Ward, and then it's 8.5 seconds to Peter O'Connor further back. We don't want that to be updating that quickly, so if you just bear with me 2 seconds, we'll make sure that is definitely not the case. Andrew Soper has got pressure from Michael Rowe a little bit further down. Love the livery on Michael Rowe's car, by the way. He's definitely not a donut, but it's a wonderful, wonderful looking car. To be fair, a lot of the field spreading out, although I say that, this is our battle for the class lead in the AM drivers, and O'Connor just seems to drive it in so much harder on the brakes, but then Stuart Clark's getting the run on the exit. It's very much like a Newton's cradle here. It goes one way then the other.
Yeah, there is a lot of different ways to approach that opening corner. It's called the 90, and yes, there is. You can do the kind of slow in, fast out. You can try and carry the speed and run wide and run over the curb, etc. Different drivers prefer to do it in different ways, and it depends if you're trying to set a move up or whatever. But that's what makes Watkins Glen such a brilliant driver's challenge, and how it's a proper heart thumper. It's there's some corners where you're like, oh please grip, please, because it's just so fast. But yeah, this is brilliant to see a couple of the AM class drivers up there and they'll, of course, if they finish where they are, give a really strong grid spot for the feature, which of course is where the big points are paid out. But you've got to give a shout to Paul Riga as well, to start from pit lane to get into 10th spot as it stands. If he could, tell you what, if you told him at the beginning of the race you'll be going straight through to the feature from a pit lane start, I think he'd rip your hand off.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a fantastic performance by Riga. He's just picked away at them one by one so far and managed to get into that top 10. A little bit wide through there, you can say, but he's probably got the off tracks to get away with it for now. He's going to
That was gravel. That would have been a very sandy excursion there.
Yeah, indeed, and a lot of the time he would have been spat out to the right-hand side, as we saw earlier with Peter Brill. You just dip that left rear wheel onto something that the car doesn't want, and it will throw you at the wall. But we need to come back to this, though, because the white flag is in the air, and this is going to be the final lap for our AM class leaders, and, of course, our race leader overall, Jacob Toft, who is way, way ahead up the hill, some 11 seconds ahead of these guys. But I'm intrigued to see now, if we look back from Peter O'Connor, what Stuart Clark can do down this straight. Because watch when Peter gets into the braking zone, he goes in so much harder on the brakes into this bus stop, although for once Stuart Clark's getting closer. But look at Peter through here. He just gains a couple of car lengths. Yes, granted Stuart was on the inside that time, but even when he's not, that's the sort of difference we see. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is a brilliant attribute to have that kind of late braking performance. He's the top-rack Razgati Oglu of Porsche Club Sim Racing. If you're wondering who on earth I'm talking about, the new World Superbike champion for Yamaha, top-rack Razgati Oglu, the first Turkish rider ever to win the championship, and he is so much better on the brakes than anybody, and that's been his secret to winning the championship. So Peter O'Connor, he's Peter Top-rack O'Connor.
And now he's Turkish. Someone that's very much a British driver, and a very modest one indeed, is Jacob Tofts, and he's done his usual here. He started at the very front, he didn't get challenged, and he's just opened up that gap bit by bit. It's 1.8 seconds now to Austin Greatorex, and that's going to be enough. Jacob Tofts is going to take the checkered flag and the first win of the night here at Watkins Glen. Austin Greatorex is second, David Ward comes home in third, and then Peter O'Connor is going to make a fantastic start to his evening. Fourth place overall and a win in the AM class. Very well done indeed. Stuart Clark is just going to beat Rob Sharp to the line. Dan Bathy goes through. So does Stephen Kershaw, Danny Jones and Paul Riga. Put your hands together in chat, everybody, for Paul especially. Great drive. Tom Slater will have to do some more hard work. So too will Andrew Shepherd, Carl Sharkey, Chris Byram, Andrew Soper, Michael Rowe, Gilles Gardner, Amrik Sashdev, Peter Brill and Bernie, Mark Phillips, who I think didn't even take the start, actually, Peter. But another strong race to start our night and another strong win for Jacob Tofts.
Yeah, I hope Bernie's okay. He was talking about LSD earlier on. I hope he's not gone off the rails. He was talking about limited slip differentials, of course.
And it was a zero incident race for Paul Riga, apparently. Unbelievable.
There's the collector's item.
Absolutely. Absolutely unbelievable. But yes, Bernie, we do hope you're all right, mate. Oh, listen to the gearbox. Oh, yeah. I had a bit of a man moment there. That was a dirty noise of the gearbox just winding its way down. Amrik Sashdev has just crossed the line. I think he's had a bit of a tough race, either that or he got started late from the pits. Either way, we are now gridding up for our second race of the night. Matthew Dorrington on pole position. Good to have him back. Christian Zeruta on the second spot. Then it's James Cummings and Stephen Haley. Gary Tall and Johnny Elia on row 3 ahead of Ross Dunstan and Mark Johnson. Byron Crawford and Oliver Carwadine line up on row 5. Then it's Paul Goffin and Fausto Pinto. David Patching and Ralph Mayer make up row 7 ahead of Heinz Mayer and Simon Povey. Mark Baxter-Jones and Mark Bowe make it an all-mark row 9. And João Estevez will start at the back of the field. And again, we are faced with a lot of very, very fast drivers in this field, Peter. This is one of the things we're truly spoiled with in this championship. Anybody that you've got your eye on to take a spot in this one?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Yeah, hard to write. I know it's an obvious one, but it's hard to write off the front row. Although I can't call a winner on the front row. Christian Zeruta's had a very good season. Matt Dorrington we haven't seen for a couple of rounds. Oh, could be close. Let's see.
Dorrington starting on pole position then. We'll have it all to do. The second race of the night then in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series is underway. Looks like a few cars in the middle light it up. Ross Dunstan's had another poor start. He's not been able to sort his starts out this season. Drops to the back of the pack almost. Dorrington gets it done. Leads through turn 1. Then it is Christian Zeruta. James Cummings just ahead of Stephen Haley. And Dunstan's race gets even worse. It's been turned around at turn 1. Manages to continue though, but he won't be pleased with that. Fantastic start by everyone though. Mark Johnson leading the way in the AM class for now, because he's got Byron Crawford all over the back of him. Very tidy start once again though, really, except for Ross Dunstan being turned around. Oh, big hit down the inside. Gary Toll's in the wall hard. There was a driver in front. I think it was Johnny Elia went down the inside there. There was wheel-to-wheel contact and it spat Gary Toll over to the left-hand side. Let's have a look. So Johnny Elia moves over. Goes down the inside. Oh, Gary just turns into the rear corner of him. There's not really any other way to say it, I don't think.
Yeah, he had to turn into the corner at some point. Yeah, just a... you've got to call that a racing incident, I think. It's just unlucky. But what a move there from Christian Zeruta, who really had to take a big risk on cold tyres, on the brakes, and got the move done on Matt Dorrington. What a manoeuvre at the bus stop. It's, as we've just seen, not easy to thread the needle there. So here he comes in the flying bogey. Matt Dorrington's got a bogey all over the back. Oh, yes. Yeah,
whoa, he nearly overdid it.
Just gets it slowed down. Now, what Christian Zeruta was very close to there was, if he'd just cut that a little bit more of the chicane, he'd been given a slow down penalty and he'd been right back in the pack. So just pulling it down in time. So it's game on at the front.
Oh,
and, Johnny! Oh! Literally in the bin.
Go.
Are those bins? They look like bins.
Yeah, they're like the big water barrel things, aren't they? Johnny's now going to reverse down the pit lane. So
this is going well.
Oh,
dear.
Okay, Johnny.
Fast repair anyway.
Yep. Well, Johnny's taken himself in the pits there because of the orange sector rule, which basically means that if any of the drivers feel they have been in an incident or caused an incident, then they take themselves into the pits at the end of the first lap. And they always serve that. And to be fair, it's been one of the most respectful things that we've seen about this championship as well. Drivers have been very, very honest about it. You know, if they've been in an incident, they've held their hands up and said, yep, my bad, I'll go into the pits. You know, there's none of this, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, these drivers aren't members of parliament. They are real honest guys. They do a smashing job of it, to be fair. And
although they have had some Christmas parties, though, the last... I've seen a few pictures of drivers meeting up for a few Christmas beverages.
Yes, yeah, the Porsche Club of Great Britain have had their Christmas party. And a number of the drivers that we have out there tonight, actually, were a part of that.
Nobody's nogging their secretary, though. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. They didn't pull a Hancock. But Zeruta just leading Dorrington at the moment. And unlike our government, Zeruta's leading Dorrington correctly, to be honest. Cummins is in third place with Stephen Haley in fourth. And Mark Johnson fifth. Look at Simon Povey, though. 9 places gained now, Peter. And this is lap 2.
No relation.
Yeah, yeah, indeed, no relation whatsoever. So let's not throw politics at James, shall we? He's on for a podium right now. Mark Johnson currently leading the AM category still. And he's got Byron Crawford less than a second behind him, so the slipstream will still be strong.
Johnson's got his eyes set on Cummings.
He has. He has indeed. I
didn't actually realise how many politicians we had in this championship. We've got, Cummings, Johnson, Eccleston. I mean, Mark Phillips. Bernie's he's the master politician.
Porsche Spot in the chat asking Sturgeon next, Peter.
Oh, we've got Not Killed now, so yeah.
If the commentary box ever
step out the way of her, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I'm hoping the commentary box doesn't get renamed from. It's the Gary Stagg box, isn't it now?
Correct.
Yes.
Very good knowledge. Yes.
Well, I only remember that because you told me that you broke your leg near it, didn't you? Oh no, you were playing golf, weren't you, when you broke your leg? I remember.
Yes, I was.
I remember you took a picture of it and you were taking a picture looking up at it, saying that you were commentating there, and I was thinking, how's he going to get up there with a broken leg? But
with hard work and cunning, unlike our politicians. All right, we've got a lot of mileage out of that. Chaz.
We have actually. I was quite proud of myself for that, and yourself as well. We kept that ball rolling for quite a while, to be honest. Longer than Labour will be in lead anyway. Zaruta and Dorrington are trying to break away from Cummings and Haley, but they're just not able to at the moment. It's like Brexit. They just won't go anywhere. Cummings and Haley third and fourth. Johnson still. Again, we're having that sort of gap bridged here, aren't we? Like we had in the first race, where a few of the pros are getting away from the AMs, but the AMs are in really, really strong positions.
They are. It's been a very good night for the AM drivers, especially Mark Johnson here in this wonderful Porsche Salzburg liveried machine. Of course, the livery that was dressed on the Porsche 917 that won Porsche's first Le Mans outright 51 years ago. Goodness.
Oh my life.
Saved the company.
That makes
Ferdinand Piech had done his best to spend all the company's money, funnily enough, on the race. So, it's swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, that's it. You get what you give, or you get back what you put in, something like that.
Speculate to accumulate.
I like that. Excuse me, sorry. Simon Povey into the bus stop, hopping and skipping his way through. Now has these two AM drivers in front of him. Doesn't technically have to overtake them because he's already in a position to get through, and it's only lap 4. And let's face it, he was in to the final on the end of lap 2. So he really has been flying, and we sort of expected that from Simon Povey. He's had so much pace every single time we've seen him out there. He's just one of those drivers, isn't he, Peter, that always gets caught up in just slightly unlucky moments, or just gets tagged by somebody when they're going around and he's trying to avoid it. He's just wrong place, wrong time, isn't he, Simon Povey, sometimes?
Yeah, it's just not quite at the rub of the green this season, but he does have pace. That's for certain. And just trying to. He's done a super job in this race from the back of the grid to get all the way up. Now, Mark Bowe coming to a very controlled stop.
Yeah, not quite sure
Bizarre.
what happened there. This is Mark Bowe going down the straight.
Did he put enough fuel in?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's cutting out to me.
I wonder. I think he forgot to put fuel in from qualifying.
Because it doesn't sound like it's cutting out to me, but it's...
Not yet, anyway. Either that... Oh, there it goes. Maybe. Maybe he's getting a message from his mum, because, of course, Mrs. Bowe watches every race saying, Mark, will you get a move on? So he's looking at his phone going, I'm trying, mum. Have you seen the price of fuel these days?
Oh, honestly. I drove past a Shell garage near mine earlier, and it was $155.9 for diesel.
Obscene.
Absolutely disgusting.
It's just robbery.
It literally is. Anyway, these guys don't have to worry about that. Virtual fuel costs nothing. Simon Povey, still on the back of these guys, as mentioned, doesn't have to put too much pressure on. Now, Porsche Sport in the chat have said that Dorrington is lifting, waiting for the send, but right now he's over half a second behind Zaruta, and that is not sending distance, unless you ask Jacques Villeneuve. But, to be honest, I think really Zaruta looks like he's got this under control for now. The flying bogey certainly is flying out front, and it looks like they can use all of that runoff and not get told off for it. Fuel is fixed, apparently, David Ward says. It's a fixed setup, so... I think it was something else, because the way it didn't sort of sit there going, like skipping along and sort of suddenly juttering into life. It sort of, I don't know, like you say, it was a controlled stop, so he definitely just brought that to maybe something in the real world outside of the sim going on. As, we've got movement here. Oliver Carwadine has disconnected very suddenly by the look of it, I'm afraid. That's not good.
That isn't good. Do you not think it's a little bit worrying that there's a massive sign just on the run down to turn 1, just got quite a long braking zone that says "Go bowling"? It's like, oh yeah, just don't bother about braking for turn 1. Just go bowling.
Yeah,
just send it and.
It's like a Nike advert. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite misleading. Oh, hello, Byron Crawford opens the blinds, says hello, Mark. That's the lead of the AM class gone, and Johnson's going to get a slowdown for that. He won't be happy there. He'll feel that Byron pushed him into that, but Byron put the pressure on, put his nose down the inside. And what a move. Simon Povey now up to 6. Mark Johnson second in the AM class. But
shuttered him out.
He did, he really did, didn't he? Let's have a look at it again. We'll go to Chopper Cam. It's great down this straight on Chopper Cam. He's alongside for a while. Gets in there. Ooh, he just turns in a little bit late, doesn't he? He makes sure that he doesn't close off the corner too much and cut it. So it's all fair in Love and War. Still more battles going on.
Very good racecraft there from Crawford, actually. Very clever.
Yeah, indeed. That's it. You know, you put your nose down the inside, and you've got to do it so that you don't compromise yourself that much, but you compromise your rival from having to come back at you. Like, it's just any sort of cutback, any run that they could get. I think it's really, really good stuff that he managed to do that. Baxter Jones around the outside here of Paul Goffin. Of course, Mark Baxter Jones was the winner of the Sim Racing Magazine special event, which we hosted last week at Spa-Francorchamps. We had a 40-minute race, which included a pit stop, and poor old Simon Povey actually led the whole race from start to finish, every single lap at Spa-Francorchamps. Mark Baxter Jones was racing against Charles Rainford, the real-world Porsche driver. Managed to overtake him and broke away from everyone else, and after the pit stops he closed in on Simon Povey, and he was right behind him coming into the final corner, and Simon outbraked himself, and Mark took the win at the very last corner of a 40-minute race.
A thriller. Absolute thriller.
It was.
Oh,
that was nice.
Oh, that might be a slowdown for Povey, because that was right over the edge of the curb, but maybe not. See, this is the thing. The drivers will be just getting used to what you can and can't get away with on this new scan of Watkins Glen. But Povey's through for now. Doesn't appear to have a slowdown. So otherwise he'd have begun serving it. So up to 5th spot from the back of the grid. Very impressive. So if he can hold this position, Simon Povey will start from the 5th row of the grid for the feature and puts himself in with a shout to get something different written on his coffee cup tomorrow morning.
Yes, indeed. The ongoing saga of Simon's coffee cup.
First loser. Oh, crock.
Dear. Yep. He smashed into the wall there as Ralph Mayer tries to get it turned around and get going again, but that was a big old hit. And it just looked like the car just bounced over the curb for a second there, Peter. Just bounces, digs in, there. Oh, yeah, it spins up that right rear.
Yeah, not even the punishment there does not fit the crime. That was just the tiniest of error, but just landed with a little bit of steering lock on, and yeah, it's still a 911 Cup car. Everyone who thinks this car's gone soft, think again.
Very, very true. The question in chat, actually, I missed it at the time. Apologies, Porsche Sport. Saying, Diesel, what are you driving? I drive a BMW 318D M Sport Estate currently. The E91 as well, the prettiest of BMW 3 Series estates. Although I must say, my friend's got an F31. Actually, was it an F91? I think it might be an F91. 335D, and it is the most ridiculously torquey thing I've ever seen. Look at this, though. That's Fausto Pinto getting overtaken by Mark Baxter Jones and Ross Dunstan, who's had a very, very rough race so far. He had his poor start. He got turned round at turn 1. He hit the wall coming out the final corner earlier. Yes, Ross, I saw that. You thought I didn't see it. But he's still 9th, so he's still on his way through to the feature. It's been a hell of a determined drive by him, Peter.
Tenacious. That's what we like to see.
Yeah.
That's what we like, you know, fighting on after being round the wrong, like you say, round the wrong way at turn 1. Fought back very well, has Ross Dunstan. So you've got the Andy Prio World Touring Car Champion model of 3 Series.
Yes.
Or
yes.
era.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the estate was designated the E91, but yeah, that shape is the E90 essentially. Yeah.
E90. Yes.
Lovely thing. I love it. I absolutely love my BMW. It was a very cheap second-hand one, but I still love it.
And black too.
Oh yeah, black tinted windows,
Yeah.
dark grey wheels, all
yeah.
of it. Proper. Yeah, it looks like I sell substance. But Crawford.
Or well, yeah, at least you don't have to worry about paying for an undertaker if you know.
Well, that's it. Well, to be honest, David Addison called it the hearse. I sent him a picture of it. He said, "Why have you bought a hearse?" And that was the first thing he said.
Practical.
Yeah, exactly. I said that it'd work if he needed me to help him move house, but then I said, to be fair, if he kept up with the puns, I'd put him in the back of it. But anyway, Christian Zaruta, he's not too worried right now, I can imagine. Matt Dorrington behind him. He's already cleared the biggest slipstreaming area of the circuit on the final lap. Dorrington takes a lot of the curb through the bus stop chicane. And James Cummings has done a good job at holding on to them as well. Stephen Haley just about there as well. These guys have all stuck together in one way or another. Jakub Szymanski saying iRacing was originally released in 2008. Yes, mate. I started in 2014, and if you could see the graphical differences and the sounds and the way that it's all developed since even 2014, it's scary how good iRacing looks now in comparison to how it did. But at the very front of the field, though, Christian Zaruta, I'm so used to it, really, Peter, with Jacob up there. But once he got that move done, he hasn't really looked back, has he?
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen Matt Dorrington really retaliate, because we know how fast Matt is, but maybe just getting himself back up to speed. He's been out of the championship for a couple of rounds, so yeah, maybe just thinking second row, that'll do me. But Christian Zaruta continues to just climb up the order here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Championship, and staking his claim for a championship charge.
He is indeed. Fantastic drive. Great move to get the lead. And Christian Zaruta takes a win at Watkins Glen. Matt Dorrington is going to finish second ahead of James Cummings, with Stephen Haley in fourth. Simon Povey finishes fifth. Brilliant drive, Sunshine. Byron Crawford gets himself a spot in the final with sixth place, wins the AM category. And Mark Johnson is going to finish seventh. He's followed home by Mark Baxter-Jones. Great drive from him. Ross Dunstan survives in ninth. Fausto Pinto gets into the top 10, just ahead of the drivers that will then go to the Consolation, which is Gary Tall, Paul Goffin, David Patching, João Estevez, Ralph Mayer, Johnny Elia, Heinz Mayer, Mark Bowe and Oliver Carwadine. But Christian Zaruta has already disappeared out of view and gone straight back to any sort of virtual pits that he can. But that was a bit more of a lively one, that, Peter. Great move for the win. And to be fair, still really clean driving standards as things go.
Very good, yes, very, and yeah, Watkins Glen is a circuit where it can go wrong very quickly. So yeah, very, very clean and tidy stuff on the most part for the drivers, and yeah, with the track can get a little bit slick and slippy in places, especially in this Porsche Cup car. It's not got any traction control, it's got no ABS, so you are on your own, and yeah, the drivers are acquitting themselves very, very well indeed.
Yeah, it's not an easy one to get right lap after lap, especially when you're battling other drivers as well, and you have to adjust your lines and the way that you attack a corner, your braking zones, the way that you put the lock on through the corner and balance the car. It all changes as soon as you're battling somebody else. So it's great to see that these guys have really got themselves tuned in like that. But this is Stephen Haley, who finished fourth in that one. Started fourth on the grid as well, to be fair. James Cummings started just in front of him in third. And the two of them made it through, and they will be in the final very soon. So, third race of the night. Tom Slater on pole, Gary Tall is second. Andrew Shepard and Paul Goffin make it an all-AM row 2. Then it's Carl Sharkey and David Patching, Chris Byram and João Estevez. Andrew Soper and Ralph Mayer make up row 5. Michael Rowe and Johnny Elia are 11th and 12th, ahead of Gilles Gardner and Heinz Mayer. Then it's Amrik Sashdev and Oliver Carwadine, Peter Brill and Mark Bowe. And hopefully at the back of the field we will see Bernie, Mark Phillips, make his way on to the grid. But this will be the Consolation. Now, we got corrected not too long ago, Peter, last time out, that 15 drivers go through from the Consolation, not just 10. So a little bit more leniency for the drivers this time round. Is there anyone that you think will potentially win this race? Because, I mean, Slater and Tall, both very quick.
Ooh, yes, I think it's got to be Tom Slater, I think.
Now it's a shorter race as well, so these guys have less time to get it done. Slater is away well. Great start by Andrew Shepherd too, from third on the grid, gets ahead of Gary Tall. Paul Goffin's going to try and go down the inside of Gary as well. No, Gary blocks it off. Let's have a look what else happens further down. Soper is down the inside of Ralph Mayer. The urgent blood machine makes its way through turn one cleanly. A few of them side by side as they go up the hill. This is Johnny Elia. He's got Michael Rowe on his right hand side. Johnny Elia goes through, but Tom Slater, nice clean start there for him, leads the way. He needs Shepherd and Tall to fight behind now, Peter, because that'll work to his advantage.
Yeah, that's exactly what Tom Slater needs. Is Gary Tall gets through this time at the bus stop chicane. Good stuff there. Puts the disappointment of the previous race behind him. So Gary Tall up into second position. There's someone going wide there. I think it's David Patching. Maybe looking for the fried fish sand. Is that not a Young's livery? It looks like it.
Go back to it.
Oh no, it's not. It looks like it.
It caught me out there because I thought it was as well, you know.
Anyway, back to donuts. Dessert.
Yes.
This row going up the inside of Sashdev.
And of course, 360 degrees in a car is called a donut.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
There's a nice little link. Let's hope they both don't end up doing one by crashing into each other or
and
smashing.
Of course, Amri, a GT3 owner in real life. The jammy sword.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget as well.
It's a PDK though, you know. So.
Oh no! Yeah. Sorry, Amri.
It was going so well.
Yeah, we can't agree there. Tom Slater holds on to the lead then. I love that livery on that car. It looks so good. Although I believe last season he had, I thought he had the Jameson done in like a metallic finish last season. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that wrong and just thinking of the wheels. Either way, he's got Gary Tall all over the back of him right now. Gary pushing hard. Look at the reflections on the surface. iRacing have really nailed it recently. It's absolutely lovely. Up the hill we go through the S's. Gary Tall's going to wait now and use the slipstream at the top of the hill. He's not going to be flat out up here. Ready now, he's going to launch the attack. It's like it's spring-loaded the back of that Porsche. Suddenly tucks out from under the rear wing, and he flies past him down the straight. Gary Tall goes into the race lead. Yep, outbreaks him into the bus stop. Slater knows that if he doesn't fight too hard, they can just get away together, but he runs a little bit deep in the latter stage of the bus stop. Doesn't get away with it there. We've got guys very close together further down. I think Ralph Mayer just having a bit of an issue on the way into the bus stop. Soper and Johnny Elia side by side. Johnny Elia is flying here, Peter. 6 places gained, and it's barely been 2 laps.
Yeah, after a really difficult start to the day, Johnny Elia making up for lost time, and that is bold.
Oh, I love it.
Johnny Elia going right around the outside at the chute, and then gets the move sealed up at the heel of the boot. Sorry, the toe of the boot, my apologies, up towards the heel now. Great stuff.
Michael Rowe holding up a few drivers here. Amrik Sashdev and Oliver Carwadine piling in behind them. We've got Carl Sharkey in there as well. He's looking to make his way through into the final. He will do as things stand. Don't forget 15 drivers go through, not just the top 10 this time. Now, what can Michael Rowe do at trying to get back at Amrik Sashdev? This little group right together. If we go to a Blimpy boy, you'll see a number of them, the different lines. Carl Sharkey just trying to have a look down the inside there into the penultimate corner. Certainly not a subtle car, is it? The very black and orange machine. Very, very bold. He's actually got a great run down the straight, hasn't he?
They're getting I believe they've just signed a sponsorship deal with Tango. It does look like a can of Tango. I love how they've recreated on the final corner there the Sir Jackie Stewart grandstand.
Yeah, they have indeed. Now, whenever you mention Jackie Stewart, all I can think of is the way that Ayrton Senna just absolutely ripped into him with the very famous "If you no longer go for a gap," but it's just the way he goes Stewart when he addresses him.
Let me say something to you, Stewart.
Yeah, it's very, very abrupt. But, you know, he was a very angry man at the time, so you can't blame him.
Sir Jackie did have a point, though.
He did, but don't tell him. Well, no, we're not going to get on that.
It's not a very popular opinion, but yes.
No. David Patching has got Johnny Elia climbing around all over the back of him now. Johnny's been fantastic in this race so far already. We're only on lap 3, and he's making many a move on many a driver. We'll go on board with him as we go up the hill. Suddenly David's going to arrive from the left, or is he? No, you can see him in the rear view mirror, look. Left rear wheel there, Petro Canada logo as well. Oh, and Johnny goes a little bit early on the brakes. Patching tries to go later. Is Soper going to go down the inside now? We just need to give him a beacon light on the top of that and a siren, and that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Really complete the look.
That's something that iRacing need to add, sirens and beacons.
Imagine
that. I think so. Now, I think Johnny Elia, when he obviously had a trip to the pit lane in his heat, I think he's had a famous Watkins Glen Salins hot dog. I think he's had a Salins hot dog, and he is, well,
sailing.
Hot dog. He is flying.
We had a pun for each part of that. I like that.
Yeah.
He is hot dog, and he's sailing.
Yes, absolutely.
He certainly is, though. He's flying 7 places gained. And same with Amrit Safstev.
You enjoy yourself laughing there.
Yeah. Oh, God. Carl Sharkey's a part of this now all of a sudden. He doesn't want to be the hot dog sausage in the bun.
Fins
Instead,
up.
it's Andrew Soper. God, I turned Dutch for a second then. It's Andrew Soper.
Andrew Soper. Through the pushed up.
It's Sean Connery on commentary.
Carl Sharkey in the Porsche.
He just Yoshmish Moneypenny right now. But Carl in the number 77 Porsche. Carl Sharkey.
What time does Sean Connery play a racket sports? Tennis.
Anyway, it's happened again, everybody. David Patching is currently 6th. Amrit Safstev has now gained 8 positions in this race behind. But look at these boys, absolutely locking horns there.
Someone likes our jokes in the chat.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, that's it. We've got a fan in the chat. Thank you very much. Make sure that we subscribe to your channel. Look at these pair, by the way, Tall and Slater. They are 5.5 seconds ahead of Andrew Shepherd, and they are battling. It is hot in here, isn't it? They are battling away at the front of the field and still gaining time on everyone else. That shows you the pace that these boys have got up there.
Yeah, they're flying, and the thing is, they've got, they're almost so far ahead that they could have a big accident and still get their place in the feature. But yeah, they're just driving with no fears, no worries. Hakuna Matata. And, here goes Tom Slater. You really do get a slingshot there out of the S's. And then side by side into the bus stop. Gary Tall's been there before. He says, I'm not getting caught with that.
No.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Very much indeed. Tom Slater just backs out of that for a second there. Knows what's good for him. Amrit Safstev's got Carl Sharkey down the inside. These two both in with a shot of getting through as well. If we actually look, João Estevez is the last car that's going to get through into the final currently. So pretty much everybody else ahead of them is in with a shot of getting through, or, well, is currently in a position to get through. So they don't have to fight like this, but they're just enjoying the racing. They're just absolutely on it now.
Yeah, they are. And actually, Estevez is not safe because Mark Bowe is on the hunt now. He's just about 3 seconds, maybe a lap or 2 to go. But Mark is super, super quick. Of course, race winner at Donington. How do we say, the drama at Donington, where nobody wanted to win that race, it seemed.
No, very much
Mark
so.
did. He says, I'll win it. He says, my mum and all my family are watching, so I'll win it quite happily.
Yeah, he's been doing... It's been interesting watching Mark Bowe, actually, in this championship, because he's had the odd result where he's just been under the radar, securing a 5th, 6th, 7th, and so on. Getting the odd podium here and there. But then, other times, he's been absolutely untouchable, and he's just had this incredible burst of pace over the course of one evening. He really has been a strong example to the fact that some drivers just prefer certain circuits over others, and they can show so many amazing moves to us in places where we didn't think they would be, because they just no tracks inside out like that. Here comes Slater once again, right behind Gary Toll, and you're right, that slingshot is massive through there. It's a deja vu for the previous lap. It's like Hill and Schumacher at Belgium in '96, going one way, then the other. Gary Toll still holding on this time around. Porsche Sport getting involved in the seeming emoji war in chat right now. Of course, thank you to the Definitely Not a Bot YouTube channel that's commenting there. Extra engagement for us, thank you very much. Have to be careful, keep some of the guys away or there will be an engagement. But Johnny Elia, third in class at the moment, is right behind Paul Goffin. Yes.
I was going to say, if you're a tall Slater, I mean, that's gonna cut down your ladder bill massively.
Wow. We've got Oliver Carwadine has been off the road. Look at that by Johnny Elia around the outside at the toe of the boot. That is lovely stuff. You've got to say, though, I think Paul Goffin gave him a little bit of leeway there, but fantastic stuff. Fantastic indeed. Yes, the Chinese bed Porsche Sport. Yes, sorry, I said that out loud. Gary Toll, head and shoulders above the rest at the moment, is just about to win this race, I think. He's on the brink of doing it. 2 more corners to go. Make that 1 by the time I've said it. Just needs to get a good run out of here and not let Slater close up. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough from Tom Slater. Gary Toll takes the win in the Consolation, goes through to the final. Slater is second, brilliant drive. Andrew Shepherd in the Scuderia Chicken House car comes home third. Go on, son. Johnny Elia fourth. Great drive from Johnny. Amazing stuff. Goffin fifth. Ahead of Karl Sharkey sixth. Amrik Sashdev, Chris Byram, David Patching and Andrew Soper rounds out the 10. He's ahead of Michael Rowe, Heinz Mayer, Ralph Mayer, Oliver Carwadine, and João Estevez is just going to beat... Oh, no, sorry, he's just behind Oliver Carwadine across the line. Mark Bowe does not make it through. That's a big surprise.
Oh, that is. So, yeah, race winner 1 week, out of the not getting through to the final, another. That's that's how competitive this championship is now.
It is indeed, yeah. Certainly shows you how the cookie crumbles sometimes, doesn't it, that? That makes a big, big change to how the final could potentially go. I mean, people like Mark Bowe, you expect to always be up there. What we'll do is we'll have a quick look over the results of the previous races. We'll tell you who's going through to this final race. And then we will have just a quick break while warm-up is on. And then we will go into the final race of the night, the feature race. So Jacob Tofts wins the first heat ahead of Austin Greatorex and David Ward. Then it's Peter O'Connor, Stuart Clark and Rob Sharp, 3 AM drivers in the top 6. Dan Bathy 7th ahead of Stephen Kershaw, Danny Jones and Paul Rieger is the last one to go through from the first heat. And then Peter will take you away with the drivers that made it through from heat number 2.
Heat number 2, your winner then, Christian Saruta in the Flying Bogey, winning by 6/10 of a second from Matthew Donington, with James Cummings rounding out the podium. Stephen Haley, Simon Povey round out the top 5. Byron Crawford, top of the AM class, with Mark Johnson right behind in 7th overall, second in AM. Mark Baxter Jones was 8th from a pit lane start. Very impressive under the radar there from Mark Baxter Jones, with Ross Dunstan and Fausto Pinto taking the last spot in the feature.
And then, of course, we had the Consolation race, which Gary Toll just won ahead of Tom Slater and Andrew Shepherd. Johnny Elia was 4th ahead of Paul Goffin, with Karl Sharkey and Amrik Sashdev 6th and 7th. Chris Byram 8th ahead of David Patching and Andrew Soper. Michael Rowe 11th ahead of the 2 Mayers, Heinz and then Ralph. Oliver Carwadine 14th, and João Estevez, the final driver to go through, in 15th place. So everybody, it's time for warm-up. The drivers are just going to get some final laps in now, and Peter and I will just take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back with you for the final race of the night. We'll see you in a few.
black and white.
Hello again then, everybody. It is now time for warm-up. Sorry, not time for warm-up. It's time for the final race of the night here at Watkins Glen in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. Fausto Pinto and Paul Rieger are on the front row, with Ross Dunstan and Danny Jones on row 2. Then it's Mark Baxter-Jones and Stephen Kershaw, Mark Johnson and Dan Bathy, Byron Crawford and Rob Sharp, who round out your top 10. Simon Povey is actually looking quite good in 11th place. Stuart Clark is 12th. With Stephen Haley and Peter O'Connor 13th and 14th. Then it's James Cummings and David Ward, Matt Dorrington and Austin Greatorex, Christian Zaruta and Jacob Toft, our 2 heat winners on row 10. Then it's Gary Tall and Tom Slater, ahead of Andrew Shepherd, Johnny Elia, Paul Goffin and Carl Sharkey, with Amrik Sashdev, Chris Byram, David Patching, Andrew Soper, Michael Rowe, Haynes Mayer, Ralph Meyer, Oliver Cowardine and Joe Estevez just behind, and finishing our very big grid for this final race, Peter. There are a lot of our pro drivers and our fastest drivers right in the middle of the pack here, but to be fair, we've got a number of them, like Simon Povey, ahead of some of the guys we'd expect them to normally get beat by. But it's actually time to get going, so sorry Peter, we'll come to you in a sec. But feature race is underway at Watkins Glen. Massive number of cars get off the line, 35 of them. Fantastic start by Fausto Pinto. Danny Jones into second place. He's got Ross Dunstan and Stephen Kershaw behind. Look at them all fanning out. Is there contact further back? I heard a bit. Somehow they're making it 3-3 wide, Peter, but let's just hold our breath as they go up the hill. Oh, we've got cars off. Povey! Oh, it had to be flipping.
It had to be, didn't it?
And Dorrington. Dorrington's off. Oh, no, he's clipped somebody. He's clipped Gary Tall. Shepherd's gone around in avoidance. There's more cars going off in the background. Everyone, look at that. Look at the way they slowed down, though, there. That was really, really well-controlled stuff by the guys further back. But it means that everyone further forward has disappeared up the road. But there was certainly a lot of shenanigans there. But Dorrington and Povey, I think, 2 of the guys that started it all.
Yeah, that is a classic Watkins Glen S's accident. It was a 2019, the Watkins Glen 6 Hour. There was a huge shunt there with one of the factory Corvettes, actually. Oh, did Paul Regal loop it coming out the pit lane there? I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's no, wait, that's not Dorrington. Oh, Dorrington was in a second accident, you know.
Yeah. So who was that Povey made contact with? I was going to say ran into, but that was maybe unfair. But
I think it was Stephen Kershaw.
Yeah. So it's so difficult. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head here, and yeah.
Whoa! They just sort of, they sort of magnetised into each other. Not really anything Matt Dorrington could do there to be honest.
No.
How Shepherd didn't go in a wall the first time, I don't know. But look at them, a number of them there slowing down. Oh my, oh my life, mate. We need to look at Mark Baxter-Jones here. There is, oh, Zaruta's off. Zaruta's off and out by the look of it.
Yeah, Riga did loop it coming out the pit lane. I thought I saw that.
Hold your breath, everyone. I'm not going to say anything more.
Now would be a good time to brake. It's more good fortune than anything else.
I was going to say, yeah, a lot of people will look on that quite badly, but I still
there's a lot of
that.
overtaking under yellow flag there, for example.
Yeah.
But that doesn't count in iRacing.
Yes, indeed. Peter O'Connor and Oliver Carwadine have both had an issue as well. Oh my!
Oh my giddy aunt!
That's Riga, and that is Carwadine.
Oh,
that is a monster of an accident. What on earth happened there? So Christian Zaruta and Peter O'Connor both... Oh.
Oh dear.
Zaruta's had a big issue there. So a number of drivers have already overtaken him. Oh, he's clipped the curb on the inside. Oh, he wobbles, hits the wall. But then Peter O'Connor goes off. Oh, Peter's done it. He's done it on his own.
Cold tyres. I think there's a lot of cold tyre incidents. Of course, this is a longer race as well, so the cars are carrying a lot more fuel than they would. Paul Riga is half asleep.
Oh, that's a sickening impact for Carwadine, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, it does have plenty of time to move. But yeah, it's bizarre. This has been an awfully bizarre start to the race.
I think Riga must have just been looking at his relative or something.
I think so. He's not looking ahead anyway. Because look, you'll see here, car on the road, car on the road,
yeah, he'll
car
be
on the road, car on the road, bang.
Oh. And poor Carwadine as well, because
Oh my word.
That's a horrendous hit. But poor Oliver Carwadine, he was sort of trying to get out of the way of it, going over to the right because the incident was out on the left. I think Zaruta is properly out of the race now, as mentioned in the chat. Thank you, Porsche Sport. We're just apologies for not looking at the race as it is now, guys. We just want to pick this apart. Look, he goes over to the right, but that ends up not being the right place to be in the end.
It was very difficult there as well. But yeah, it does not look well on Paul Riga there. I have to be honest. But Zaruta, for what looked like quite a big hit, seems to be carrying on, but then obviously not. Oh my word! Right, where does that leave us?
So Fausto Pinto leads the way. He's got Ross Dunstan, Danny Jones, and Mark Johnson behind. Don't forget he leads the AM class as well at the moment. So AM are actually ahead of Pro on track officially. And then we've got Dan Bathy. Austin Greatorex has gained 12 places. Jacob Toft has gained 11. He's right behind David Ward. So those guys have floated up the order again, as they always do. Big move up the inside there by Stephen Haley, although I think that was Gary Tall coming back out of the pits and trying to stay out of everybody's way. Johnny Ely has done the fastest lap of the race. But hopefully all of the mayhem has been avoided now. Michael Rowe had an issue recently, but I think he is out of the race. Yes, he is. Look at this for the lead, though. Now we can focus on the live action. This is a hell of a lot of cars for the race lead, Peter. Oh,
and this is getting very tasty already between Pinto and Dunstan.
Ward.
Oh,
Ward and Haley.
oh dear. What is happening tonight? And while all this is all going on, Austin Greatorex and Jacob Toft are just quietly picking their way through. I say quietly. Oh, gets a bit of help there, does David Ward from the Martini car.
Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more at the top.
Word.
Stuart Clark's off. Ross Dunstan's off.
And I think Toft's had damage there. Either that or my eyes are needing tested.
Oh,
for goodness sake.
Yeah, Fausto Pinto.
This is a bizarre. Oh dear me.
I tell you what, this harks back to when the championship first started. We had
chaos.
We had a nightmare at
Donington.
Oh, Fausto's just turned across on Ross there. They bounce off the wall. Oh, they've taken all 6 cars with them. And then Jacob smashes in. And, the guys behind just can't react in time. They ping-pong off the walls. and then they ping-pong off each other. Kershaw there into Stuart Clark, David Ward flying through. But that's part of the problem. Sometimes the guys just don't slow down for the incident. They see it as more of a reason to get through, overtake people than, you know, slowing down to avoid the incident.
Yeah, it's again, Watkins Glen, the S's, you have to treat them with respect because you're absolutely flat out there. Maybe an ever so slight feather of the throttle on a cup car, depending how much wing you're running, but more or less it's flat in top. And yeah, as Mark Johnson has to come in, a lot of drivers I think will be taking fast repairs, including Jacob Toffs. Now, we need to keep a close eye on that car of Jacob Toffs because with the fast repair is far from done. But this gives a great opportunity for Austin Greatorex now to get moving out the front. But Dan Batty, the Guild of Motoring Writers Photographer of the Year, well done.
Nice.
Dan, very well deserved. Some of his shots were just fantastic. Must be all that sacred coffee he's drinking.
Yeah.
Keeps you awake and a steady hand.
And it keeps
sacred coffee for what you drink.
And much like yourself, it keeps your pictures sharp.
Yes.
I like that. But some of the guys that have gained places in this race, by the way, Austin Greatorex has gained 17. Johnny Elia has gained 20 in this race so far.
Sash Devon 7th.
Yeah, he's gained 20.
Oh.
Although, for now. He's doing a steeplechase. David Patchin's gained 18. We've got Byram on 16. Goffin and Sharkey have gained 17 each. It's unbelievable. But it's because of all the incidents. These are the guys that have survived the incidents. But that's what you've got to do, it seems, around here. I mean, in previous racing leagues on iRacing that I've been a part of, that I've commentated on, that I've organised, you know, a lot of the time, Watkins has been the circuit to undo a lot of the driving standards, I must admit. But it's not necessarily that it's all just the driving standards for the guys. Like, it's just one incident, and sometimes they're not. It's not that they're not used to the incidents, but there's been that few massive incidents this season that I think they just think, oh, we'll be all right now. And unfortunately, they're not. Apparently, the fast repair is not working for Jacob Tofts. That's massive.
That is huge. And also, Christian Saruta, for what looked like a real disaster to start with, of course, he had the crash at the penultimate corner, which of course meant he could get in and take his fast repair. I believe he's taking his fast repair because the car looks immaculate and he had a big shunt. So, well, maybe not. Right? Okay, right, okay. So, tell you what, he's got away with that because it was a big shunt. And, yeah, been able to carry on. And, yeah, right there behind Carl Sharkey in 9th position, who, of course, started from pit lane. So Carl in a really good spot, but I think we'll be in for a proper ding-dong at the front now. Who must be a lap down because he's... Yes, he will be a lap down because he's not showing on timing and scoring as behind Byron Crawford.
Yeah.
That honour goes to Matt Johnson in 14th. So yeah, Joe Estevez is a lap down then. Right. Goodness.
So,
take a breakfast. Oh, who's that off? That's one of the Myers, I think.
Oh, I clicked the wrong one. It's Ralph.
It's Ralph Meyer. Yeah, so, well, 50-50. Dear oh dear. And going slow as well, and of course now has to go all the way around to get the repair. Oh, so frustrating. But for the AM class, we've got Steve Kershaw leading by quite a way. Jacob Toff's back on track, but no doubt a couple of laps down. But Sashdev second in AM at the moment. This is a proper career drive from Amrik.
Yeah, really good stuff by Amrik. 20 places gained. As mentioned earlier, kept the car nice and clean. I think the livery looks fantastic on that. He's updated his livery from previous cars. It's absolutely gorgeous on this 992. He's got Saruta right behind him. Obviously, he doesn't want to fight that too hard. Just needs to focus on the position in his own class right now. But Stephen Kershaw, actually, despite being involved in that incident earlier on and with the damage to the front of the car, still in the class lead, doing a great job so far. And he's currently 6th overall. It's actually exactly where he started on the grid. The car that's just overtaken him there, Jacob Toft's obviously not for position. Jacob is a couple of laps down on these guys. So really, as we've gone over the halfway point, Kershaw needs to just keep this nice and neat and tidy. We'll see what the lap times look like compared to Amrik Sashdev as they come round to cross the line. Just want to briefly say apologies for losing the comms audio a moment ago. I just opened my drink and muted my mic for 10 seconds and then forgot to unmute it again. Typical. Let's have a look at the lap times then. 1:48.7 for Stephen Kershaw and a 1:48.0 for Amrik Sashdev. So Amrik's actually catching him here at quite the rate, even though he's got cars around him.
Yeah, it's but Sashdev got to be careful here. And does well to defend there from Christian Saruta. I wonder if Saruta maybe had to back out the throttle there.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think he did slightly. Here we go, down towards the... Heinz Myers had a big shunt there. Well, he'll not, of course, the Heinz and Ralph Meyer from Crockery Direct very kindly put up a prize every race meeting for the safest driver. Now that's going to be a race to the bottom in this in this race. I guess it'll be Austin Greatrex because he's at the front, so he can't have any. He can't have possibly had any shunts. So he might be in line for the bubbly. Well, yeah. Double bubbly, race winning bubbly, and Crockery Direct bubbly.
Yes, indeed. He'll be a very, very happy boy, I'm sure. Will Mr. Greatrex?
No, in Austin, he'll find something to complain about.
Well, he's doing a smashing job of this race so far. Started 18th on the grid and currently leads by 3.8 seconds from Dan Bathy. Dan just here in his Sacred Coffee machine. David Ward, despite the contact earlier with Stephen Haley, still in 3rd place. I really love that pink on that car, by the way. It's just a plain pink livery on that. That looks fantastic, I think. It's one of my favourite looking cars in the field, which seems a bit of a shame to say with some of the beautiful liveries that we've got. I mean, the two cars chasing him, Johnny Elia's 11/10 car and Stephen Haley in the sort of Martini throwback livery, looks absolutely amazing. But yeah, David Ward's pink number 69 car, I absolutely love that thing. Really love it. Looks like it's brand factory new. Saruta's in the pits. Now, is that damage, do you think?
I think it'll be incident points, I would think. Unless he comes into his pit stall, of course. Wheels straight. I think he's serving a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. That's so he's exceeded the iRacing incident point limit. So what that means, folks, is if you step over track limits, you get 1 incident point. Sharky goes past Sashdev. 1 incident point for going over track limits. 2 if you lose control with a spin or if you hit the wall. And the worst one is 4 if you make contact with another driver or if they make contact with you, which is where it can be quite frustrating when you get rammed from the rear by somebody and you get 4 incident points. However, I do think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Chaz, 17 they're allowed?
Yeah, in official sessions it's usually 17.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much.
I think it is here too.
Okay.
I think so. But to go through 17 in 50 minutes is quite impressive. But it's amazing how they can rack up. We saw actually a number of drivers in the iRacing Dallara World Championship where quite a few drivers throughout the season got sent for drive-throughs for that very reason.
Yeah, some of them at that sort of level, people try and tactically use their off-tracks, so they've only got like 1 or 2 left by the end of the race, and then sometimes they don't quite calculate it enough, and in pushing the limits and having tyres go off and all sorts, then unfortunately they do step over the line 1 too many times. But it was great to hear you on that, actually. Really, really good series as well. Very dramatic. A lot going on between Apex and R8G, of course, but eventually we got our champion. Certainly looked enjoyable.
Interesting finale. Not sure how I feel about it, to be honest, but anyway, there we go.
Now we've got two of the fastest guys out there right now, Tom Slater and Christian Saruta. Tom nearly ends up in the Atlantic as Christian Saruta piles on in behind him now. Completely fixed car for Saruta, you can tell. Or is it actually? No, that rear wing's still bent in the back. Oh yeah, because of course he didn't stop. Shut up, Chaz. God, I'm such an idiot. But Saruta now he's lighter without his drive-through on his shoulders, you could say. And he's now going to attack. But to be honest, with a lot of his championship rivals, Jacob Tofts, Matthew Dorrington, Simon Povey, all out of the running in this race. Although I say that, Tofts and Dorrington's still going, so they might still get a few points out of this. But still, Saruta needs to make sure that he capitalises on that right now. And he's not really, is he? Let's face it. I mean, he's 15th. Oh, well, he's going to be 15th because I was just about to correct myself. He's 16th right now. Slater makes a mistake. Well, still he's 16th. So the battle rages on, Peter. Oh, David Ward, by the way. He's got Dan Bathy for P2.
Let's have a look then. Oh, as Barry goes a bit wide there, coming out of the chute and down towards the toe of the boot. And that's... Now, you wouldn't have been able, David Ward would not have been able to pull that move off on the old Watkins Glen.
No.
Because it's a lot flatter now, whereas in the older style, it was a proper, proper camber on the inside of the corner. And, late on the brakes there for Saruta. And, oh no, Stephen Haley's off in the Martini. Oh dear. Shaken and stirred. Oh dear, don't do that. Don't take out your teammate. Oh dear. The other Martini car.
Oh, and Heinz Mayer's had a big one there. There was already damage on the car, actually.
Quickly.
Yeah, gets back to the pits. Oh, Stephen, how many drivers have done
Classic Watkins Glen. Yep, you beat me to it. Classic Watkins Glen last corner crash. Big. Everybody's done it. And if you haven't, if you say you haven't, you're lying.
Yeah, that's very true. It's one of those...
Would now be a bad time to say that in 1976 and 1977 the Porsche Martini 935s won here. Probably not going to be it.
Okay. That'll stir
not going to emulate that performance.
That'll stir up some context. But yeah, it's one of those corners because you're going so hard through that left-hander and it's so quick, and then you want to get all the way over before the right-hander, but then what you're doing is you're managing the weight transfer of the car, you're getting onto the brakes, trying to get it pitched into the right. Sometimes in that little bit of a moment, the back end of the car can just float away from you that little bit and it can still wash over to the left, just kiss that bit of grass, and suddenly you are in the wall. It's not an easy place to get out of a situation of. James Cummings wants to get out of this situation. He's got two AM drivers around him, Mark Johnson and David Patching right in front. Johnson down the inside of Patching. Cummings wants to go through as well. Wants to get past the pair of them. In all honesty, he's 11th at the moment. Wants to get inside that top 10. Extra bragging rights available for a top 10 finish.
Just a quick eyesight test there before making the move.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, just to make sure that he had a little bit of a, let's just say, a bit of breathing room with Mark Johnson in front of him. Just holding on, though, at the minute. But it's going to be a case of when, not if, I think he gets past Mark Johnson. Stephen Kershaw, though, still leading in this class. He's 4.3 seconds ahead of Amrit Sashdev. And to be fair, I think that gap's gone back up now from what it was before, Peter. So he's doing a great job.
He is, yeah, and with a pretty wounded car as well. Very impressive from Steve Kershaw. Not the champion sidecar racer. Who's a very nice bloke, actually. I've actually commentated with him before. But yeah, there's your difference of a car that's wounded and not. Carl Starkey just blows by on the straight. That's where it will show up the most. But this has been a super drive from Carl Starkey from the pit lane to the top 5. I think that is a very, very impressive result indeed for Carl.
Definitely.
Only thing is now he's got no one to tow him. So he's Caravan Carl with, it might be a bit lonely now.
He's static caravan car.
Yeah, he's a static caravan. Yeah.
Someone's just left him
in
in a field in Wales.
Site's empty. Yeah.
Saruta then.
I tell you what, now this is we always say it. You've driven the perfect race if you win a race and get virtually no camera time. Austin Greatorex has driven superbly here. He's avoided the carnage. He's picked his way through.
Yeah.
And has driven so well here. Don't let me down, Austin. Come on. Sorry. Gee whiz, that was close. He was close. He's pushing still, obviously, then. But I'm sure Austin will be signing virtual autographs in his Twitch stream at the moment, I would imagine.
He did hit the wall there, didn't he?
I thought it was close anyway.
Yeah,
now, he won't want to
damaged the
scratch the
front left.
paintwork. The Lorca. Oh. Oh dear. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. The wheel's sticking out slightly. Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, this is what Sebastian Ogier did at Monza Rally. And David Ward says his snout is twitching right now on the pink pig.
The baby pig.
I smell blood.
I smell bacon. But either way, Johnny Elia is now ahead of Dan Bathy. So Dan, strangely, going backwards a little bit. I think he does have damage on the car from the earlier incident. The front of the car doesn't look too happy, to say the least. And these things, the more aero that these cars get, obviously the more dependent they are on it, and the more it affects them down the straight as soon as you bend it or break it. So some of them are really suffering down this straight towards the bus stop. Byron Crawford's not, though. Look at that. The bravery down the inside there knows no bounds. Byron's done that a few times tonight. Great move into 12th place for car 12. He's currently 6th in his class at the moment. Patching is now ahead of Zaruta on the road. They had João Estevez just getting out the way of all of the lap traffic there. But yeah, as you were saying though, Peter, Greater X has driven a blinding race so far, except that little tiny excursion a moment ago. But like you said at the time, he is really pushing, and this is exactly why he's opened up that gap over David Ward and everyone else behind.
He's barely on the curb there. That he said, I'm not doing that again. No chance. But yeah, carries on. So white flag in the air. Austin Greaterek just one lap of this Watkins Glen circuit, and he will be picking up a race win. First win of the season, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe
had a
so.
difficult start to the season, involved in others accidents, but this puts his championship campaign right back on course. And who would have thought that a law student would have founded such a wonderful circuit like this? Cameron Arkinsinger, 1948 when we started racing here.
Wow.
Pleased to say it's still going strong in the outdoor and virtual world.
It is indeed. Of course, this is the brand new rescan of Watkins Glen, which is free to all iRacing members that had already bought the circuit. And it's a hell of a circuit as well, and they've done another wonderful job of it. Look at the reflections on the road, the way that it all works, how clean and sharp all of the graphics are on this track now. Oh, and that's sharp, isn't it? Byron Crawford skims the wall, going up the S's. That's going to kill his straight line speed here, and Patching is going to try and go alongside and try and overtake him. João Estevez there is a lap down, but he doesn't care. He still wants part of this fight. But we need to look further up, because Austin Greaterex is only a couple of corners away from taking a fantastic victory. David Ward has gained about a second and a half on him in the last lap, but you've got to think now Greaterex is just coasting it home here. 2 corners to go after this. And it's going to be a very, very popular victory for him. You can see the guys in the background slowing down. They don't want to get in David Ward's way. He's gained another 3/10 in just that corner. So Austin definitely just nursing it home now. Round the final corner he goes, I should say. Austin Greaterex dominates at Watkins Glen. Brilliant drive. David Ward, a fantastic second place. And Johnny Elia is going to come home third. He's going to be really pleased with that. Ahead of Dan Bathy and Carl Sharkey. Put your hands together, everybody. 21 places gained for Carl, and he finishes 5th overall after starting right near the back. Great drive. Stephen Kershaw wins the AM category. Good stuff from him. And Rick Sashdev just about second in the end, ahead of Paul Goffin. And then Chris Byram in the Chris Akabusi tracksuit car. But Austin Greaterex, what a fantastic drive that was, Peter. Nobody could come anywhere near him once he got out in front.
Yeah, proper drive there from Austin Greaterex. Really well deserved. He just got a little bit of the rub of the green, which he thoroughly deserved, because he's not had the rub of the green early in the season, but he took that opportunity and just ran with it. What a drive. Well deserved, and that puts him into the contention for the championship. Not a good day for Jacob Toffs at all, but Christian Zaruta only finishing well out of the top 10. So the championship table is going to be, there's going to be some big winners and losers when we look at the points.
Definitely, it's going to be a real shake-up for how things pan out going forward. Now, we've still got a few cars finishing the race, by the way. Paul Rieger is just limping the car home. Andrew Shepherd is not actually the car in front of him. Apologies. That is Michael Rowe, who is just about to finish a lap. And Matt Dorrington still on a lap as well. I'm pretty sure he needs to still cross the line before it ticks over. He's actually side by side with Peter O'Connor. That's not for position either. Peter is a lap ahead of him, but they're certainly racing to be the last cars across. The 166 machine and the 888. Is he going to get it? Oh, Matt. He's pushing hard. Only needs to do a few more 100 yards, doesn't it? Or is it? Oh, he's not even going to bother. Oh, go on, Matt. Oh, mate.
That'd be the meatball flag.
Oh, mate. I expected him to do that at least. Now, that's the wrong race. Go, Chaz. Austin Craterex takes the win. Fantastic drive from Austin. Survived all the chaos and made it to the end with dominant performance. David Ward finishes second ahead of Johnny Elia. Great podium for him. Dan Bathy in third. Dan Bathy's fourth. Carl Sharkey's fifth. Stephen Kershaw is the highest placed AM driver ahead of Amrik Sashdev, with Paul Goffin and Chris Byron behind. I can't get my words out. James Cummings rounds out your top 10 ahead of Mark Johnson and Christian Zaruta. He was just ahead of Tom Slater in 13th, Byron Crawford 14th, and David Patching in 15th place come the end of the race. Rob Sharp was 16th ahead of Stephen Haley and Mark Baxter-Jones, with Stuart Clark and Oliver Cowdean rounding out the top 20. Andrew Shepherd was 21st ahead of Paul Rieger, the last car on the lead lap. Then we had Peter O'Connor, Andrew Soper, Danny Jones, João Estevez, Ralph Mayer, Heinz Mayer, and Michael Rowe, all one lap down. 2 laps down was Matt Dorrington and Jacob Toft. That could be big for the championship come the end. Fausto Pinto 5 laps down, Ross Dunstan 11 laps down, Gary Tall 12, and Simon Povey 14 laps down as well. Now that's a commentator's curse, I think, Peter, because right at the start I said Povey's looking good there in 11th place, and clearly he wasn't.
And I'll be honest, I was going to say the same, but the race started before I could get the chance. Simon was in a really strong place there to fight for a win, and it just didn't go his way. Maybe knew that, and maybe just took a wee bit too much of a chance early on. Easy to say from this seat, but that's again, we saw tonight just what can happen in the S's at Watkins Glen. You just make the tiniest little error, and it has consequences for you and a lot of your rivals as well. So yeah, there was a lot of drivers who will be very, very annoyed with what's happened tonight. Again, there's no malice involved in any of these things, but if you've got caught up in a big accident that's not your fault, it's so difficult to put to rest. So really frustrated, but that's Watkins Glen.
Now we're just watching these slow motion shots of the field coming down through the first couple of corners, and to be fair, it was around this part of the field where it all started to kick off a bit. You can see Dan Bathy trying to go around Stephen Kershaw there. Byron Crawford and Simon Povey got a fantastic run down the inside, but it was the initial contact between Stephen Kershaw and Simon Povey that would initially slow a few of them up. Simon Povey went in the wall very, very hard indeed. But look at the size of the field that we get in these feature races. Really is amazing. I think once Stephen had Byron go past him, he didn't realise there was a car on the inside, but Povey was away from the apex a bit as well. It was 6 of one, half a dozen the other, and to be fair, if we watch this just for a moment, you'll see just how lucky Stephen Kershaw was not to be more involved in this. He's completely sideways there, and then suddenly the momentum gets spat back into Povey. He smacks into the barrier, and Kershaw somehow gets away with that. Dorrington then arrives on the scene inside. That's James Cummings' car, and then all of a sudden that accident starts behind. However, we need to move away from looking at all of the chaos that started earlier on, because we have some drivers to interview, and the first one of them is a man that's, to be fair, had a hell of a turnaround tonight. Johnny Elia joins us in the box. Johnny, you had a bit of a nightmare at the start with going into the pits, but an overall podium tonight, mate. That's mega, isn't it?
Yeah, what happened there? I don't know what happened. It was a mistake on the first lap. I just spoke to Gary. He said he didn't have to pit. That was his fault. I didn't know, so I just took the drive through, and then did spectacular into the pit lane and sort of reversed it up the pit lane back into the box, and then ended up getting tyres and all sorts. So I thought, well, there we go, good start. And then yeah, obviously did right in the heat, just sort of kept it clean, and that was good fun battling with the guys. And then yeah, the feature was a bit like, yeah, first free lap was pick a line, close your eyes, and hope for the best. And I came out on top, and yeah, managed just to keep it clean for the rest of the race. And yeah, P3, happy with that.
Days of Thunder spec, I think one of my friends would call that. But it's one of those circuits, isn't it? Everyone knows this track, but it's never easy to tame it, and especially whenever there's an incident, it always does seem to cause a lot of carnage because of just the pure nature of the S's as you go up there. It's just a real narrow bit of track, isn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's obviously we've got the new track as well, which is a lot. I'd say it's a lot different to the old track. It's a lot faster. And yeah, it's the first time I drove it was tonight. Literally had 40 minutes to sort of try and find the time. I was watching everybody else on their replays trying to niggle away because yeah, I haven't done a lot of laps around here, even on the old one. So yeah, no, fun circuit, very fun circuit.
Well, it's certainly been an entertaining evening for us watching you come through the field, and I mean, we've just seen some fantastic slow-mo of you there, hopping all four wheels off the ground through the bus stop as well, so you were certainly...
Yeah, that's a fun section, yeah.
Looks like it as well, but you were certainly on it, mate. It's been an interesting season for you so far. In terms of your championship campaign, do you think that we can see you right up there, maybe finishing inside maybe the top 3, top 5, is that...
Yeah, not sure. Had a bit of bad luck for the first part of the season due to incidents and stuff. But yeah, who knows? At the moment, I'm just sort of no pressure. Just go and have a bit of fun with the guys, and just whatever happens, happens.
And obviously, next time out, it's a very different night of racing. We've got a 2-hour endurance race at Sebring, one of Peter's very favourite tracks. I can hear him dribbling on his microphone already. It's going to be a hell of a race, that, to be fair. Is it a circuit that you're a fan of?
Yeah, I do like Sebring. Yeah, good fun.
Well, we hope it goes well for you there, Johnny, and we obviously look forward to seeing how you get on. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thanks to before you go?
Yeah, Mum and Dad, they've been watching ever since season 1, so big shout out to them. And obviously you guys and everybody behind PCGB, I know a lot of effort goes into it. And yeah, the 11 Temps boys as well. So yeah.
Cracking. Thanks very much, Johnny, and of course, yeah, shout out to your parents as well. Thank you for watching since season 1. We really appreciate it. But well done tonight, Johnny. Mega performance, mate, and we'll see you very soon.
Peter. Thank you. Take
Cheers.
care.
Johnny Elia, absolute star of tonight for me, really, Peter. He was just there, wasn't he? He just did it. He just got the job done no matter what went on around him.
Yeah, he knows how to deliver, but he's a transit man. He's a Ford Transit man, so of course he knows how to deliver.
He knows exactly what he's doing with any equipment at hand. One of the only drivers to finish that race in the exact... Actually, let me just check. The only driver to finish that race in the exact position he started was our eventual AM class winner, Stephen Kershaw. Steve, you must be really chuffed with that one, mate, because despite the incident that happened in front of you, you survived and you cracked on with it.
Yeah, I had a major incident on the, I think it was second corner going up the hill with Simon. We sort of touched and put me sideways and managed to recover. So I lost a lot of positions at start, but then yeah, I sort of gained them back when there were a couple of big incidents later on in the race.
Well, that's it. A lot of the time in races like this at Watkins Glen, it's all about survival on some nights. I mean, as much as the drivers do have an incredible level of driving standards in this league, sometimes one circuit can undo it for an evening, and as long as you survive, you'll get some good points out of it. Were you expecting to take an AM win tonight?
Not at all. No, I mean, the new track was a bit of a surprise. So that just got uploaded yesterday, I think, and I just had a little bit of a time to practice this afternoon. But I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought the new track was fantastic. So I can't sort of say that made a major difference, really, to me. It's just, yeah, it's the first time I've got on the podium, so I'm absolutely chuffed.
And the best step of the podium to be on as well, mate. A class win, fantastic. Well, Sebring, 2 hours next time out. Very different night of racing to what we've had here. Is that something you love the idea of, or are you sort of dreading that one a bit?
Never done it before, so I think the longest race I've done is maybe 40 minutes. So I just don't know what to expect. It probably doesn't suit my driving style because I'm a little bit on the edge, I think, most of the time. So I think I might have to try and rein it back a bit. But it'll be a great experience. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on, mate, and hopefully another class win is on the cards for you. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you?
Yeah, my wife Vicky, who never watches this, but I will make her because I've won.
Love it.
My 2 kids, Lauren and Bryony, and you guys, you do a brilliant job. So I really enjoy watching the broadcast.
Love it. Thank you very much, Steve. Really appreciate that, mate. And
thanks also to the organisers as well. They put a load of work in, and I wouldn't want to do it. They do a great job as well.
Love it. Great to speak to you, Stephen. Thank you very much, mate. Well done, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Chaz.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And then one more man that we need to speak to be fair. You said about no news is good news, really, in that race, Peter. Austin Greatorex joins us in the box. Austin, you must be, I think, relieved, maybe, is the word for that one?
Oh, definitely. Hi, Chaz. Hi, Peter. But, yeah, I missed quite a few accidents at certain times of the race that helped me big time.
Yeah, it certainly looked like survival was the main aim there. But once you got out in front, you know, it's not like you didn't have pressure behind him. I mean, you had Johnny Elia, Dan Bathy, Cal Sharkey, David Ward, you know, some incredibly quick guys in this series that, you know, some of them proven race winners as well. Did you feel like it was going to be an easy run because of the slight gap you had, or was it still really push?
To be fair, after the heat race, my front tyres started going slightly, trying to push to keep it with Jacob. So as soon as there was the big wreck, I want to say on lap 4, maybe up through the S's, and I see I had a bit of gap to the people that I knew would be giving me a hard time. I just kind of maintained my pace to try and keep it clean, and then drove into the wall with one but last lap myself.
I'd hate to say we caught that, but we did. It literally, just as we said that you were doing so well, and then you just went and kissed the wall, and Peter was just, okay.
Yeah, just a lapse in concentration. Tried pushing too quick out the exit and just drove into the wall.
We've all done it, mate. Don't you worry, honestly. Much like on the way into the final corner, if you spin there, you know, Peter and I were saying, if you say you've never done that, you're a liar. So don't you worry, mate. It just shows how hard you were pushing, though, even at the end, you know, just to make sure that you had that gap. We've got 2 hours of racing at Sebring on the 22nd of December. Are you looking forward to that?
I'll let you know in 2 weeks' time. I've not drove it in this car at all, and it's a very bumpy car, isn't it? So, and a very bumpy track, sorry. This car's not as forgiving as the old 991 one in my eyes for the bumps, so it'll be interesting.
Certainly will be, and I mean, very, very different circuit to tonight, really. This one obviously quite newly repaved, obviously brand new rescan, a lot smoother than its old counterpart, so somewhere as bumpy as Sebring, which is an airfield, is going to be a bit of a nightmare maybe, but we look forward to it. And obviously, you know the question by now. Do you want to give anyone a quick shout out before you go?
Yeah, as always, thanks to you guys, thanks to everyone in PCGB, all the organisers put effort in, everyone that turns up week in, week out, and Porsche Sport and all our sponsors.
Lovely stuff. Well, great to speak to you as ever, Austin. Fantastic win, mate. And we look forward to seeing how you get on at Sebring.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening.
Cheers, you too, buddy. Well, there we go then, Peter. Another night of racing complete here on Simracersworld TV with the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. A very interesting final race there. Standards that we don't normally see from these guys. It, like I say, it reminded us of the very first race we did at Donington Park, but let's just hope that that remains a one-off this season, eh?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think that there's very much the Watkins Glen factor there. How it just that one part of the circuit where it's just so narrow, and if you do get it wrong, it's a pile up. But the best sports car drivers in the world did it a couple of years ago, and there's been plenty other examples in the real world. So the drivers shouldn't be too disheartened. But yes, hopefully a little bit cleaner and smoother at Sebring in a couple of weeks' time. But the drivers will need to get a lot of practice in, because Sebring's a real rhythm circuit, and to 2-hour race with no mistakes, that's going to be tough.
It is indeed. I imagine you're looking forward to it a lot, though. Sebring, one of the most legendary circuits in the world when it comes to endurance racing, isn't it?
It is, yes. My storybook is particularly thick for
I can't wait
for that one.
I'm literally rubbing my hands together for that one. I can't wait. It's going to be an absolute belter. But of course, everybody, that is watching, make sure that you join Peter and I in 2 weeks' time for round 6 of Season 4 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. I've been Chaz Draycott. He's been the wonderful Peter MacKay. Thank you very much for watching us again this evening on Simracersworld TV. Enjoy the rest of the tune, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Good night.